Boa noite, pessoal. Estamos nos conectando aqui agora, verificando que estamos tudo certinho. Pedir para vocês me darem um ok aqui também, se estiverem conseguindo me ver, me ouvir, por favor. Perfeito. Então, vamos lá, pessoal. Que bom aqui, obrigado por ter falado aqui. Tá conseguindo ouvir, tá conseguindo acompanhar. Então hoje é um dia, uma das lives que eu estava mais ansioso para a gente poder fazer, porque conforme solicitado, né, por vocês, a live ela vai ser feita totalmente em inglês. Então não apenas vai ser uma aula de inglês que eu vou estar fazendo aqui para vocês também, mas uma aula em inglês. Então isso eu tenho certeza que vai estar ajudando bastante no aqui para vocês poderem estar se desenvolvendo no que vocês estão buscando e com o tema que a gente vai estar apresentando aqui hoje. E lembrando também, né, que isso que a gente vai fazer aqui é uma coisa que eu ensino a todos os meus alunos e eu vou pedir para vocês, por favor, podem estar falando aqui, interajam no chat, fiquem super à vontade, tá? Se tiver alguma dúvida, alguma pergunta, pode estar colocando aqui, que no final eu vou estar respondendo. Se tiver rápido demais, vocês também podem falar que eu diminuo um pouco o ritmo, porque o objetivo é com que vocês aprendam e acompanhem o melhor possível. E aqui também um outro ponto que é importante, dentro do que a gente vai estar vendo hoje, o objetivo é que vocês consigam acompanhar bem, que vocês aproveitem bastante e que usem essa mesma estrutura que está sendo apresentada aqui no dia a dia e no trabalho de vocês. Tá legal? Então, sem mais delongas, a gente vai começar. So, good evening everyone. I'm very happy to be here with all of you in this evening tonight. And I was really looking forward to deliver this presentation to you, as I said before, not only because it's a way to teach English, but I'm teaching in English. So what we are going to learn here today, you're going to develop your set of skills, and it's going to really help you in your career, in your professional journey, okay? And the thing we're covering here today is how to deliver professional presentations in English with or without slides. And this topic is really relevant because most of you have to deliver presentations at your work. So you are responsible for teams, you have to explain how projects are going, budget, and many other different things. So today you're going to learn how you're going to do this effectively and in a way that you can communicate with everyone. And remember what we mentioned about in our previous lessons, especially when it comes about level and fluency. The idea is you have to be fluent at your level, and then we are going to improve your level, and then you're going to take your fluency and match it. So this is what we're trying to do here today. So this framework, this model that I'm presenting can be applied to any level, okay? And what means to be fluent is to communicate within the level and how you are expected. Nice? So moving here, and this is the guide to clear, confident, and professional communication in English. And this is what we'll be covering in our session. And who is this live for? So this live is for everyone who is a professional and who really needs to present in English at work. And I could notice that lots of my students and people that I have spoken with in these last couple of years. They have the need to make these presentations, but when they do so, they are just like you can see here in this picture. They are feeling nervous, they are insecure because when it's their time to speak, they are too afraid that they have to say something and that it's going to be wrong and everyone's going to laugh then and all of that. Then they just stay quiet and like it's a wall that is built and it blocks the path in front of them. And I want you guys to destroy this wall and to be able to deliver your presentations, okay? Lots of people, they also get nervous because they have no idea how to structure a presentation, even in the native language, in our case in Portuguese. So lots of people, they already struggle when they need to speak in public, even if it's in their native language. And then when it's transferred to a second language, it gets even worse. People also think they're going to forget vocabulary when the presentation starts, like there's going to be their 404 screen right in there, and oh my god, like I completely forgot what I was going to say. And people, they want to sound clear, confident, and professional, but when all of these things that you can see here gets in the way, it makes them feel nervous, insecure, and anxious, and gets in the way of them delivering. Even though they do have the technical qualifications, they do have the know-how, the expertise, but they get stuck when they are delivering the presentation, okay? So this is what we're going to cover here and how you're going to get better and improve and how to move forward with your career in this part, okay? And why presentations matter when we talk about corporate settings and the corporate world. I'm going to move my camera, okay, so you can see everything better. So presentations matter because they are important. As I said before, they have a relevant part. We need to deliver. I can see many with my students, they have toolbox talks, meetings, organizations, calls, and etc. So presentations are a relevant part of their careers and their jobs and also their routines. And this is one thing here that is important. Your English level matters less than your delivery. And this is something really interesting to think, because lots of people, as I was saying here before in the other page, people, they are too nervous thinking that they are going to say everything wrong and then no one is going to understand them. But actually what matters the most is your delivery. And respecting your current level, you can speak with fluency, and as we have learned here before. And most professions, they will not fail because they lack grammar structure, but actually because they lack the structure of the presentation, clarity, confidence, rehearsed sentence, and something that I have been telling you since day one here when we start the webinars, strategy. So strategy, practice, this is utmost, this is very important because this is what is going to make things easier for you in the future. If you don't practice, if you don't have strategy, then you're going to fail. So that's why it's really important to practice and rehearse and have strategy and know what you're going to do, okay? And what are some of the biggest mistakes that people make when they are presenting or structuring a presentation? We can have here a few of them. First one, sometimes people, they try to get like tons of things on their slides, and the slide looks confusing because there is TMI, too much information going on there, and then they start reading everything that is there word by word. And what happens, regardless of the language, it could be English, Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese, anything. If you are in a presentation and then the person is turned around and literally just reading what's written there, this is going to be your reaction. You're not going to pay attention because it doesn't catch your attention. It's not interesting, it's not relevant, and it ends up overcomplicating the message. And about overcomplicating the message, sometimes something can be delivered simply, smoothly, and like being assertive, and people try to get too many details and too much information, and it's not necessary. we lose track. Another thing, a great mistake, translating mentally. So people, they go through different processes instead of just processing and speaking in English, as in our case here. People, they think in Portuguese, they need to translate to English, and then they are going to speak. So you can see three processes: thinking in Portuguese, translating, and speaking. And it's a lot of energy that you spend there. And sometimes when you're doing this process, you're going to feel exhausted because it demands energy from your brain to do all of this. Another thing, using long sentences. If you try to use difficult words, things that you're not used in your daily life, it's going to be really, really complicated. And people also can lose track of what you're trying to say. Another thing is speaking too fast. Fluency does not mean that you're going to speak fast, okay? You need to be understood, and you need to check who is your audience. What's their level of English? Are they in the same level as I am? Because sometimes you do have a good level of English, but you are working with people, and this happens a lot when you go to the oil rigs here. You have lots of people from Asia, for instance, like from the Philippines, Thailand, and other places, and their English is a little broken because it's a simple English. It's only enough, their English is only enough for their function. So when you need to speak a little more, they won't understand you. So if you speak too fast, you're not going to be understood. So this is something that you need to think about. Another thing, relying or depending too much on slides. Sometimes people, they get like as if it were a clutch, and they get too dependent on having slides or written information to assist them with their presentations. And last but not least, losing control in Q&A, questions and answers. This is something that lots of people, they are really afraid to get to that specific point, because that's when everyone who has been listening to their presentation is going to, all these people are going to ask you questions, and sometimes people are afraid that their English is not enough to understand the question or to structure a reply. And those are the biggest mistakes that can happen in here. And guys, in order to create a structure, we have a universal presentation structure. This is applicable to any language, actually. Of course, here we're working with English, but feel free to use this framework anywhere you want or anyhow, okay? And don't forget, if you have questions, you can please write them in the comments section, and there will be a Q&A at the end of our presentation here today. So, moving forward. This is the universal presentation structure. Feel free to take a screenshot if you want to. So this is what the structure we're going to use, and I'm going to show you how you're going to apply each of these in your presentation, okay? There will be a few examples in here. So first of all, opening or hook. This is important because this is how you get the attention of people. Then we move to the agenda. And guys, agenda is a false friend. It's not similar to the word in Portuguese. It's not calendar. Agenda are the topics you're going to cover in that meeting or presentation. 3, main points. They have to be clear. 4, examples or stories. You need those in order to make your presentation alive. 5, summary or conclusion. This is how you wrap up and you give to people and you sum up, you summarize everything that you have been talking to. Then there is a call to action, and finally a Q&A, questions and answers. So let's take a look at each of them. The first one, opening. So the opening has to be strong, powerful openings. You can begin with questions using a fact or statistic, or even a short story, a clear statement. You can use all of these to get the attention of people. Why? Because you need to capture attention in the first 10 seconds. If you fail, especially nowadays, because people, they are really oriented with videos, every social media and etc. If you don't get their attention in the first 10 seconds, then this could be a real problem, you know? So when you are going to have an opening statement, it has to be strong. Okay. Next aspect, agenda. And we have here simple examples that we can use. And with agenda, using simple language is really important because it has to be clear what's going to be covered or discussed that day. So, a few examples that we can use. Today we're going to cover 3 things, and then you're going to state the 3 things you're covering. Here's our plan for the next few minutes, and then you're going to tell what's the plan. So it has to be clear, and people need to know what's coming next. Because when people know the structure, they know what's coming next, they will relax because they know what to expect, and so will you, because everything is going according to your plan and according to your own strategy that you had created before getting to this point. Okay? Body structure. So there is a rule here. Each slide must only contain one idea, one message per minute. Why is that? Because if you have too many ideas, too many different topics, it's different to cover. So you can see, just as I did here with you guys, we had opening, and then we had the agenda, and then we moved to body structure. So if I had all these ideas in the same slide, it would be confusing and there would be too much information to share with you guys. So for this, use the PBS method: point, benefit, support. So point, you're going to explain, this is the main topic. Benefit, how you can benefit from that. And support, using the support argument to the main point. Okay? It's like you're describing something. Now, storytelling. And guys, storytelling is everywhere. This is one of the skills that I really work with all of my mentees, all of my students, because we need to tell things that happen, especially when delivering presentations, which are reporting on things that actually happened. For instance, I work with a group that who is from a specific company, and it's practically the whole HSE department. And they need to work with different things. I see them. They have to work with incidents, accidents, near misses. There is the environmental part, sustainability, documentation, audits, and many other things. So they need to tell stories. They need to tell what happened and a sequence of events. So storytelling is important. That's why we are using this method, STAR. I taught you already this in the class about resumes, LinkedIn, and applying to job interviews. The STAR framework or the STAR method is situation, task, action, result. So this structure is going to work every time, even if you don't have like the most perfect English in the world, but definitely this is going to work with you. Now, what if you have to present without slides? Sometimes it's necessary because you might have a last minute call on a meeting, or you might be at a meeting and then someone asks you something and you hadn't prepared anything to be shown, to be presented there. So you need to be prepared for this situation. This happens. In this case, you're going to use context, key message, and then next step. Example. Let me give you a quick overview. The main point is, what we need to do now is, so we contextualize the situation, we deliver the message we want to, and we show what's the next step we need to follow. Okay? And here we can, a few useful phrases that you can use with all of this that we have spoken up to now. Starting. Let's get started. Let's kick off this meeting. Shall we begin? Transitions. Now let's move on. Moving forward, keeping up. Explaining. What you see here is, as you can see, explaining, going through all of this. Okay? Ending. To sum up. In a nutshell. Summarizing. Wrapping up. All these informations, all these phrases, they are really useful and you can apply them in your daily life. a few vocabulary boosters, some words and phrases that you can add to the vocabulary you already have. From a business perspective, the key takeaway is, let me clarify this point. Here's what this means for us. So the first one, from a business perspective, it's like you're giving a transition and you're explaining what's the company's point of view on a specific matter. The key takeaway is you're summarizing an idea and showing a conclusion. Let me clarify this point. I am explaining something that perhaps someone didn't understand as well. Here's what this means for us, and then again, another conclusion, but would be from a more personal point of view. Now, handling questions, and this is where lots of people struggle, okay? So, first of all, you have to acknowledge the questions. You are going to clarify, or that means you're going to explain and understand what they ask you. You're going to ask simply and close the loop, okay? So acknowledge, thank the person for asking, clarify the question if you have to. You can ask them to explain a little more or to clarify. You're going to answer simply, don't overcomplicate yourself, and then you close the loop, okay? That's it. Example, does that answer your question? Is that enough? Okay, instead of asking, do you have any more questions? Because this way you can especially if you don't feel too comfortable, you can use that, and it's going to wrap up and finish that specific conversation, okay? Now, we learned how you're going to create your presentation and lots of different phrases and expressions, vocabulary boosters that you can apply. Now it's practice. How are you going to practice? There is a 3-step rehearsal. And guys, again, this is important. Consistency is key. You need to practice, 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 practice. The first step, silent rehearsal. This happens especially when you are in the office, in your home office, you are preparing the presentation. So you start writing it and making it in English, okay? So you don't go through your first language, you go straight to English. And as you start writing, you start thinking how you're going to explain that. This is the silent rehearsal. And once all the presentation is created, you are going to look slide by slide and think and silent rehearse everything that you want to do. Step 2, spoken rehearsal. You need to speak out loud. When you speak out loud and everything that you need to practice, this is going to help you understand if you need to improve your pronunciation, if everything is clear to you, if you are being redundant with something. And part 3, pressure rehearsal. This means record yourself. So you can use your cell phone or a software like this, OBS, or any other software, even Meet, Zoom, and whatever. And you're going to record everything as if you were presenting to other people. Why is this important? Because this is going to help you to notice where you need to improve. Like, are my slides okay? How am I delivering? Is my energy okay? Is my pronunciation clear? Okay? So all of this is really important. So you need this practice and follow this 3-step rehearsal because it's going to be really helpful. Now, a few slide deck principles, how you're going to structure the visual part here of your presentations. So your slides, the visual part of the presentation, it has to be clean, minimal, visual, and easy to read. They support your message, they don't replace it. So why is this important? Because as I am speaking here with you, you're having a conversation I'm delivering, you guys have the time to scan through my slides. You see easy words and the structure that I use. I know that usually this is the pattern that humans take. We read as if it were an F. So when I structure like that because it can get the information easily, okay? And now, a few confidence techniques. This is also really important because it's not all about the English. Confidence, guys, is not grammar, it's not perfection. Confidence is physical and mental, okay? It's your mindset that has to be on point. So a few techniques that you can do that's going to boost your confidence. So before starting, breathe in, breathe out, take deep breaths, and get ready to start your presentation. If you think that you started too fast, then slow down, speak slowly, that's okay, no problem. You're not going to speak too slow and you're neither going to speak too fast. Like, find a comfortable pace and keep up with it, okay? Use short sentences, be assertive with what you're trying to say, don't overcomplicate things. Pause intentionally. This is really important because when you're delivering presentations, you can use this, it shows confidence and also gives time for people to think on what you're saying, especially before you ask for a Q&A, okay? So you can pause. And another thing, stand tall. This is important. Even like, but Sergio, you are sit down right now. Yes, of course, but as I am delivering, and you can see all my presentations, I never like that, like curled and not speaking and maybe looking too shy. I am like this, I'm open, I want to talk to you. So you need to be inviting to people, you need to sound warm, welcoming, friendly. This is important. So if you are presenting in person, stand up, stand tall, because this makes you stand out in the conversation. And if you're delivering online, try to do this here, like the same techniques I taught you guys when we were talking about the job interview application. The camera, waist up, camera, all level, you know? I'm within the frame, I'm using gestures. All of this shows confidence and shows that I know what I'm talking about and I am the master of it, and it doesn't master over me, but I master over it, okay? And guys, what's the connection with all of this to fluency? Delivering presentations requires daily input, weekly output, vocabulary repetition. So why am I mentioning this again? Because this was everything that we spoke about in our last session. We talked about if you don't have daily input, that means, and remember, I'm not talking about 1, 2, 3 hours per day. I'm talking about 10 minutes per day. It's an easy routine. 10 minutes per day where you have input, you are understanding, you are familiarizing yourself with that vocabulary, you have contact with general English as well as business English. It is important because English doesn't sound like something that is eventual, is going to happen once in a while in life, but rather than that, it's your brain understand that it's something that is there, that it's present, okay? The weekly output, I also taught you how to do this. You need to do journals, create your own presentations, record yourself. It can be a voice note or even a video. I'd rather if you guys could do videos, this would be much better because you need this practice. You need this to make yourself comfortable, okay? So the daily input and the weekly output, they are musts. If you don't do that, if you only do once a week, you study with anyone or even by yourself, you're never going to get to the fluency that you want to the level that you want to. And also what's really important, vocabulary repetition, especially with business English. Business English is much easier than general English because things are repetitive. You'll go over and over the same thing again because you're talking about jargon, vocabulary, idioms that are specific to that niche. So the more you repeat it, the easier it will get and the better it will be for you, okay? Now, I am going to provide you guys with a few examples, okay, of how you can deliver some other presentations. So I've explained it, how to structure using words, now a few ones. The first one is it's a type of presentation, it's a personal introduction. Feel free to take screenshots of this, okay? Don't worry. So this is the structure. Who you are, what you do, what you focus on, and what you will share, okay? Now let's see here, better example. I'm going to move my camera again, 1 second. So let's start with this. Something simple, clear, and professional. Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna. I'm a supply chain coordinator at Petrolog. I'm responsible for managing vendor communication and shipment schedules. Today, I'm going to give you a short overview of your delivery performance for this month. So, let's get started. Could you see, like when Anna says here, she mentions who she is, what she does, and what's the focus, the agenda for today, and she uses the sentence to get started and kick off the meeting. Now on the other side, imagine for job interviews or corporate self-intro. This happens a lot, especially if you're new, if you're onboarding, if you are introducing yourselves to other people. Hi everyone, my name is Sergio. I work in the oil and gas and education sectors. My main focus is training professionals to communicate confidently in English. Today, I walk you through a simple framework you can use to improve your presentations. This was the exact same introduction I used at the beginning of this webinar. I just spoke it in Portuguese, but it's exactly the same thing. So it catches the attention of people. You know what you're going to receive, what's going to expect, and I take charge of it, and then we move forward. Next one, we're going to talk about report update. I'm going to move the camera here once again. So how can we do this structure? First, talking about purpose. Today I would like to give you a quick update on Project Horizon. Key numbers. We completed 85% of the testing phase. Our error rate decreased from 14% to 6%. This week we focus on system integration and bug fixing. Next steps. Next week we start the final validation stage. Requests. We need approval for the final budget adjustment by Friday. So now, when we summarize and get everything together, today I would like to give you a quick update on Project Horizon. We completed 85% of the testing phase. Our error rate decreased from 14% to 6%. This week, we focus on system integration and bug fixing. Next week, we start the final validation stage. We need approval for the final budget adjustment by Friday. So it's simple, it's assertive, it's straight to the point, and it just works, okay? So you can use this exact framework for report updates. Another example, proposal pitch. First of all, problem. What's the problem? Our onboarding process is taking too long. New employees are confused and the teams lose productivity. Now, the impact the problem is having. Right now, onboard takes an average of 18 days. The target is 10 days. Solution. I propose creating a centralized onboard guide in English. Why it works? It reduces training time, improves communication, and supports our international teams. Expected results. We estimate a 30 to 40% reduction in onboarding time. And what are the next steps? If approved today, we can start building version 1 next Wednesday. So I am pitching a proposal. I saw a problem, I created a solution, and then I stated what's the problem, why it's happening, how we can solve it, why it would work, and then the expected results and what are the next steps. You can also follow this exact same framework over here. Number 4, no slides presentation. So when you are unprepared, something just happened, as I said there before. First of all, contextualize. Let me give you a quick overview of the customer support situation this week, so you're getting it into context. Key message. The main point is that our ticket volume increased by 22% due to the new product launch. This is the first thing that you need to do. Key message, it's the most important part of the message. Action. What we need to do now is allocate 2 extra agents for the morning shift and update the FAQ page. Okay? Now, example and framework using storytelling, and remember using the STAR framework. Situation. Last year, our team struggled to deliver reports in English. It took too long and created misunderstandings. The task. We needed a faster and more standardized way to communicate updates. The action. We created a simple English report template and trained the team to use short, direct sentences. Result? As a result, the report writing time dropped from 2 hours to 25 minutes, and error corrections decreased by 40%. So storytelling using STAR method, it's amazing because you can apply like basically to anything that you want to deliver. So situation, task, action, result. Another variation here, but now for a leadership role, a leadership example. Situation. Our team was missing deadlines. Task. I needed to improve communication. Action. I implemented a daily 5-minute English stand-up meeting. Result. Delivery improved by 32% in 8 weeks. Situation, task, action, result. STAR framework. Okay? So guys, summarizing everything here, what did you learn in our session today? You learned structure, how you can structure, how you can operate, how you can create your own presentations. You learned storytelling using the STAR method. You learned slide techniques, how you're going to create slides that will get the attention and will not bore people. You learned vocabulary, okay? You learned lots of new words, new phrases, new expressions and all of this is going to be made available for you in the community and you will be able to use it over and over again. You learned how to handle Q&A and you learned strategy. What's really, really important in here, because I want you to have this strategy and have everything working well for you when you deliver your own presentations at your company. And if you want to present like this, if you want to present like I did, almost 40 minutes speaking in English confidently, knowing what you have to do, knowing the strategy, you don't need to be perfect. You need a system. And Fox Academy provides the system. Fox Academy provides you the solution in order to get from here to here. And this is what I want you to be. I don't want you to be here. I'm good. Why will you be good when you can be great? And this is what I really, really want from all of you. Okay? And because of that, e justamente por conta disso, é por isso que eu quero fazer o convite aqui para vocês poderem estar entrando na nossa comunidade. Muitos do que estão assistindo aqui essa live, vocês estão já na comunidade gratuita, né? Ali no nosso WhatsApp, recebendo aqui as informações das lives e várias outras coisas que a gente vem fornecendo. Mas eu também quero convidar vocês para poder fazer parte da nossa comunidade, porque o que eu estou ensinando aqui, e isso já é muita coisa, é um conteúdo que é muito valioso, eu vou te ensinar muito mais quando você entrar na comunidade, quando você for o meu aluno. Eu quero muito mesmo te convidar para que você venha fazer parte e que esteja aqui com a gente, tá bom? E aqui, como que funciona, né, essa comunidade? Hoje em dia, a gente está com essa estrutura. Você vai ter mais de 80 aulas gravadas, tanto de inglês regular, quanto também de business English, inglês para provas, em várias outras aulas, e-books e assim tudo mais. Você vai ter 10 módulos essenciais. Você vai ter acesso à comunidade, onde você vai poder estar tirando dúvida comigo e também com os nossos professores. Você vai estar recebendo a correção de exercícios e orientações do que você vai estar fazendo. Você vai ter acesso também às nossas ferramentas de IA aqui para poder estar ajudando a acelerar a sua fluência, materiais, scripts e além também de masterclasses exclusivas. Eu estou produzindo essa daqui aberta ao público, mas em breve a gente vai ter as masterclasses só para quem é da nossa comunidade paga e que vai ser com estrangeiros e que eles também vão estar trazendo várias coisas super interessantes aqui para vocês. Eu quero estar provendo esse valor. Se a gente fosse botar aqui na ponta do lápis que cada uma dessas coisas aqui seriam, e eu fiz a pesquisa antes de estar trazendo aqui para vocês, né, trabalhando, vendo como está o mercado, esses são os valores aqui isolados, e isso aqui tudo estaria totalizando R$ 5.224, né? E eu achei que esse valor aqui ficou meio salgado. E até quando eu fiz a pesquisa para ver também como que está o cursinho de inglês tradicional, se você for considerar o tempo que você vai ficar do curso, comprando material, pagando mensalidade, várias taxas que estão ali escondidas, é esse valor aqui ainda vezes 5 ou 6, porque é a quantidade de anos que você tem que ficar no cursinho tradicional. E assim, sinceramente, você nem vai aprender lá tudo isso que eu estou te ensinando aqui e o valor que eu estou propondo, né, na nossa comunidade. Então, vamos indo ao que interessa aqui, né? Quanto que você vai economizar se você entrar aqui na nossa Academy? Se você entrar aqui hoje fazer parte da nossa comunidade. Então, o valor real do pacote ele é de 5.224, só que eu resolvi fazer uma coisa aqui porque eu quero ajudar. Esse é o meu principal objetivo. Eu quero fazer com que o máximo possível de pessoas aprenda a falar inglês e se desenvolva. Então, o plano mensal aqui por assinatura, ele tá por R$ 120 por mês. Você vai ter acesso a todas as aulas, a comunidade, todos aqueles bônus ali que eu mostrei para você. E o plano anual, ele está saindo por R$ 12,97 ou R$ 9,97 à vista. Com isso, você vai ter acesso vitalício às aulas gravadas, acesso de 1 ano garantido à comunidade e vai ter acesso a todos os bônus que forem lançados ao longo do próximo ano também. Você vai ter acesso a tudo isso daqui. Então, você entrando na comunidade, você vai estar economizando imediatamente mais de R$ 4.000, porque você vai estar pagando apenas R$ 9,97. Então, uma economia de mais de 80% do preço real do que eu poderia estar cobrando aqui para vocês. Ou então, se você não quer se comprometer por 1 ano, o plano mensal ele custa 120 por mês. No ano que vem, a gente virando o ano aqui, ele já vai passar para 250. Então, você já está tendo aqui uma economia de 52% para poder ter acesso e você começar a desenvolver o seu inglês. E se você ficar pensando assim também, poxa, mas será que vale a pena e tudo mais? Para pensar aqui agora, qual é o seu ROI? Qual é o seu retorno sobre o investimento? Com tudo que eu já apresentei aqui agora, a gente trabalhando de forma gratuita, tá? E isso aqui é um conteúdo que tem muito, muito, muito valor, eu poderia estar cobrando facilmente por tudo isso aqui, eu já consigo te ajudar com muitas coisas, mas você entrando na minha comunidade, eu tenho certeza que você vai passar na entrevista, porque eu mostrei só um pedacinho. Dentro do meu curso, eu dou a preparação para você para a entrevista do início ao fim. Te dou os templates os templates de LinkedIn, os templates de currículo, te explico como fazer e te preparo para mais de 10 perguntas diferentes e ainda te dou o script completo de como você vai fazer isso. Isso vai te ajudar a assumir um cargo melhor. Quem sabe trabalhar para uma empresa internacional, assim como eu trabalho e que eu gosto de estar ganhando numa moeda mais forte, eu quero que você também tenha isso. Vai ajudar você a negociar um salário melhor, porque na hora que você fala que você sabe falar inglês, isso pesa e vocês sabem disso. Você também vai poder viajar sem perrengue, tanto de forma profissional quanto você também para poder curtir, para sair com a sua família. Então, o investimento que você vai fazer aqui de só R$ 1.000, ele vai se pagar muitas e muitas e muitas vezes. E já parou para pensar quantas dessas oportunidades que estão aqui do lado você já perdeu porque você não sabe ainda falar inglês ou porque está com isso bloqueado? Então está na hora da gente pegar e de desbloquear isso e ajudar você a crescer ainda mais. Então você não vai estar pagando 5.224, você não vai pagar R$ 2.000, você não vai pagar nem R$ 1.500. Hoje, a partir de R$ 120, você já começa a resolver e você já começa o seu trabalho para fluência. Você já toma o primeiro passo. Você não vai esperar 2026 começar para começar a correr atrás de pegar e de ter uma vida melhor e de fazer o que você precisa fazer. E aqui ainda, para você ver que você não tem risco, a gente tem aqui garantias. A primeira garantia, né, com plano mensal. No plano mensal, você tem 7 dias para testar tudo. Se você não gostar, você cancela, vai receber seu dinheiro de volta e é isso aí. Sem perguntas, sem nada. Ah, Sérgio, vi, não gostei, não era isso que eu procurei. Tá bom, tá aqui seu dinheiro de volta. garantia incondicional. Caso você faça o plano anual, você tem primeiro a garantia incondicional ali também, né, de 7 dias, você também vai ter ela, só que eu ainda vou te dar uma garantia a mais aqui. Você vai ter 90 dias de garantia com acompanhamento. Se você fizer tudo, assistiu todas as aulas, fez todos os exercícios, respondeu as chamadas, entrou em contato, assistiu os webinars, fez o checklist, você fez tudo e você não conseguiu evoluir, então eu vou fazer uma análise individual com você. A gente vai sentar, eu vou analisar tudo o que aconteceu com você, eu vou sentar, vou bolar uma estratégia especial para você, eu vou te dar mais 90 dias. Se nos próximos 90 dias você seguir tudo de novo o que você fez, a gente vai fazer ainda uma segunda auditoria para ver como é que ficou. Se ficar comprovado na segunda auditoria, olha só, o João aqui, Joãozinho, ele pegou, ele fez todas as aulas, ele viu, participou de tudo e tal, o método não funcionou para ele. Então, você fez tudo, não evoluiu, eu devolvo o seu dinheiro totalmente. Assim, você então tem 180 dias, você tem 6 meses de garantia. São 180 dias que você vai ter aqui de garantia com o plano anual. Então, eu estou correndo totalmente o risco. E isso daqui é porque eu confio. Eu já ajudei várias pessoas a se desenvolverem e eu tenho certeza que você vai ser mais uma. Eu sei que o meu método funciona. Então, é por isso que eu estou oferecendo essa garantia aqui para você. Tá ok? Então, aqui para a gente poder lembrar, né, pessoal? Fluência não é perfeição, é clareza, é confiança e é conexão. E eu quero muito, muito mesmo que você venha fazer parte da comunidade. Eu quero muito que você encerre aqui o ano de 2025 tomando a decisão correta, que você não fique esperando mais um ano, mais uma virada de ano, mais um carnaval, mais o segundo semestre para você poder começar. Eu quero que você realmente aprenda e que você comece a fazer isso daqui agora, tá bom? A gente vai estar mandando os links, eu junto com a minha equipe, lá na nossa comunidade, para você poder estar participando e estar entrando aqui. Também fique super à vontade, qualquer dúvida que tiver, pode me chamar no WhatsApp, chamar a minha equipe que a gente vai conversar, só falar lá, gostaria de conversar, gostaria de agendar uma reunião, e eu agendo a reunião, explico mais para vocês. A mesma coisa funciona também no Instagram ou no LinkedIn, pode me chamar para conversar que eu vou ficar muito feliz de estar tirando as dúvidas e estar ajudando você a chegar na sua fluência que você tanto quer e finalmente ver a sua carreira e a sua vida decolando, tá bom? Então, foi um prazer estar aqui com vocês, eu desejo uma boa noite para todo mundo, nos vemos na próxima semana, onde vamos falar agora sobre reuniões e e-mails, tá bom? Um forte abraço, nos vemos na próxima.